with a casino and some land so you can build some house pretendian rhetoric. I keep hearing about all these pretendians, but I ain't seen no land, no casinos, no businesses, no institutions. Can somebody please show me a single pretendian reservation? I'm gonna wait. Can somebody please show Dr. Umar? Can somebody give me the name or the address of a pretendian reservation, pretendian casino? Because all the Native Americans I see, they got land, they got casinos, they got their own schools. Can somebody show me a Negro pretendian community that has its own land, its own businesses, its own schools, its own communities? Otherwise, this is a bunch of intellectual masturbation. Intellectual masturbation. You don't want to be black. You're ashamed of being African, so you're going to create a fictitious identity. And let me say this. It is your right to create a fictitious identity. I ain't got no problem with you. Pan-Africanism is the original black man's ideology. Pan-Africanism will be the black man's last ideology. All the greatest leaders were Pan-Africanists. All the greatest revolutionaries were Pan-Africanists. No other ideology can touch us. None of you. No religious ideology, no political ideology. Nobody can compete with Marcus Garvey. Nobody. Nobody can compete with Kwame Nkrumah. Nobody. Nobody can compete with Patrice Lumumba. Nobody. Nobody can compete with Henry Highland Garnett. Nobody. And in the modern time, right now, not one of you can compete with me. Not one of you. On no level, you can't tie my shell tops. Okay? So there's no competition here. I have no competition. Pan-Africanism has no competition. Not the pretendians, not the Hebrews. None of you are a threat to anything we do, believe, or working for. But what I'm asking for is this. If the pretendians are serious about being Indians, because I've already told you, the first Americans were Africans. Let me say that again. The first people on this continent were from Africa. It was recorded. It is written. It is archived. It's in Africa. It's in the libraries over here. The scholarship has been done. The first people here were Africans. That's undisputable. Okay? But y'all don't want to admit that because you hate yourself. So, pretendians, where are your institutions? If you want people to join your fictitious nation, you have to have institutions for these people. Where are the pretendian communities? Where are the pretendian casinos? Where are the pretendian reserves? You don't have none, and you're never going to get none. And I'm going to tell you why. None of the leaders of the pretendian community, not one of them, is an institution builder or an activist. Not one. Let me say it again. I need my millennial gang to listen up, because y'all the ones they brainwashing. I need my millennial gang to listen up. There's not a single pretendian spokesperson who is an activist or an institution builder. Every last one is a YouTubian blogger. That's it. That's all they ever going to do the rest of their life. Come back 20 years from now. We're going to have 20 FDMG academies, and they will still be on YouTube telling you you're not from Africa, you are a pretendian. No jobs for your kids, no security for your women, no institutions for the people, no land that they own. They are nothing but YouTubian bloggers and opportunists. They are not activists. They are not institution builders. See, that's why the Pan-Africanists are always going to win out, because we do street work. We do work. I don't have a YouTube page. I don't want a YouTube page. I don't need a YouTube page, because my message is so powerful that whenever I open my mouth, it ends up on YouTube anyway. I don't even know how. I don't know how. Every time I open my mouth, it's on YouTube, because I am the sun. See, this is Leo season. Let me explain something. Where my lions at? This is Leo season. Leo season, the lion. The sun is the planet of the Leo. If you're a Leo, you are ruled by the sun, right? The sun is the center of this solar system. I don't believe this is the only solar system. This is the solar system. This is our solar system. The sun is the center of the solar system. Do you know what that means? Every planet revolves around the sun. Mercury around the sun. Venus around the sun. Mars around the sun. Earth around the sun. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. All the planets have to revolve around the sun. I am King Leo. So that means the conscious community is always going to revolve around me. It ain't my fault. It revolved around Marcus Garvey, another Leo. That's not his fault. Okay? That's the way it is. So just deal with it. Okay? Leos are the rulers of the solar system. That's just the way it is. These were given to me as gifts, by the way. I didn't buy these. Were gifts. I forgot who bought these for me. My lions. Okay? Now, where was I at? Oh, pretendian. Proof that the pretendians have a nation. Okay. Let's continue. The next thing that separates Africans from everybody else is the worship of money and materialism. We are a laughing stock in this country because we worship money and materialism. Nobody else worships money and materialism. Black people have single-handedly made billionaires out of white manufacturing companies. Single-handedly, Louis Vuitton. Single-handedly, Gucci. Single-handedly, all these companies that we worship who don't even like black people. Worshiping, look at the gangster rappers. Look at these goofy-ass gangster rappers who get on the video waving stacks of cash. When is the last time you seen a white musician get on the video and wave stacks of cash? When's the last time you seen a Chinese musician get on a video and wave stacks of cash? When is the last time you seen a European Jewish musician get on a video and wave stacks and stacks and stacks of money? Who does that except black folks? The white man don't worship money and materialism. White man worship power. Chinese don't worship money and materialism. Chinese worship power. Arabs don't worship money and materialism. Arabs worship power. European Jews don't worship money and materialism. European Jews worship power. And the Negro worships the money the white man makes and the materialism that the white man sells. And you wonder why we get no respect. How the hell we got rappers talking about all this money they got? Somebody help me out. We got all these rappers and all these athletes and all these actors and all these singers with all this money. We ain't got a single black Wall Street in America. Jay-Z is a billionaire. Kanye is a billionaire. LeBron is a billionaire. Bob Johnson is a billionaire. Whitney Houston is the richest woman in North American history. No disrespect to none of them. No disrespect to none of them. I like all of them, right? But can somebody tell me how you got all these billionaires and all these millionaires and you ain't got a single black Wall Street in black America? Somebody help me out. What am I missing here, Negropeans? What am I missing here? Listen, I respect my brother Kanye. No disrespect. But if Kanye want to impress me, build a black Wall Street. No disrespect to Jay-Z. If Jay-Z want to impress me, build a black Wall Street. No disrespect to Oprah. No disrespect to LeBron James. But if you want to impress me, build a black Wall Street. Go buy one of these towns for sale. Go buy one of these towns for sale. Go buy one of these towns for sale and open up an independent school, a real independent school, okay? A real independent black bank, a real independent black hospital, a real independent black supermarket, a real independent black manufacturing sector to give jobs to black people. Do that. Do that, and I will praise your name from now unto eternity. Do that. Because until you do that, you have done nothing for black folks. I don't care how many people you paid to get out of jail. That's good. I commend you. But that's not changing nothing. I don't care how many documentaries on police brutality you pay for. That's good. I commend you. But that's not changing nothing. I don't care how many protests you go to. I don't care how many congressional hearings you sit in. I don't care how many protests, how many interviews you do. That means nothing. If you want to change black America, you build institutions that black people control. If you don't like the message, hop off the live. Worshiping money and materialism. Negroes with 30 cars, 40 cars, 50 cars. But the neighborhood they come from still look the same. You know why? Black people have no obligation at all to their community. We have no obligation whatsoever to our community. We'll move out of the ghetto that made us who we are and never look back and never reach back to help another black person. And you wonder why we in the situation we in right now. Let's go to the next peculiar characteristic of the Negro psyche. We already talked about total rejection of African identity. Black people hate being black. Lord, did you know skin bleaching? Is it a $4 million or $4 billion industry? I forget. I didn't know this. I think it's billion. Is it billion? I think it's billion. If I'm not mistaken, skin bleaching is a $4 billion industry. $4 billion. Black people, $4 billion a year to lighten your skin. $30 billion to straighten your hair. You hate being black. Oh God, you hate being black. This is why the white power structure has been able to manipulate us out of the power conversation with words like multicultural, people of color, non-white Americans, disadvantaged communities. Yes, you love those words. Black people love to be called a person of color. Black people love to be called a minority. Black people love to be called non-white American. Black people love to be called a disadvantaged American. You like to be called anything except black or African. You hate it. And because the white man knows you hate being black, he slides you over into this category called minority. And he gives all the minority set-aside money. He gives all the minority set-aside money. He gives all the minority set-aside money to all the other groups, and we don't get nothing. And then we get mad when we don't get nothing. And the reason you don't get nothing is because you don't want to stand up and stand out and be who you are. If we refuse to be included in any other group except American African, if we did that, the whole policies would have to shift. If we refused to be lumped in with all the other non-white groups, so-called minority groups, they would have to change the whole policy of this country. Because so much of the policy is written for minorities. The American African should be a protected category, a uniquely protected category due to our uniquely different history and experience. Nobody in this country has been through what we've been through. Nobody. Nobody in this country has been through what we've been through. Nobody. Our unique history should be a plus in our political struggle, but it's not, because so many blacks don't want to be black. And you actually think if you act white enough, they will forget you are black. This is how sick the Negro is. This is how insane the Negropean is. This is how post-traumatic slavery diseased we are as a people. Just because you act white don't mean white people are going to forget you're black. But some of you believe this. If I bleach my skin, if I get a white girlfriend, if I go to a white college, if I live in a white neighborhood, if I think like white people, talk like white people, act like white people, they will forget that I'm black. You don't understand white supremacy. You don't understand white supremacy. You will never, ever be able to escape your blackness. You will never, ever be able to outrun your blackness. You will never, ever be able to shed your blackness. The only place where your blackness does not matter is in your own head. The only place your Africanity does not matter is in your own head. The only place where you can be perceived as being something other than a black African is in your head. You post-traumatic slavery disease Negroes. White is the superior race. Let me ask you a question. If white is the superior race, 4 questions for my white supremacists real quick. 4 questions for my white supremacists real quick. Much respect to the white folks who are here respectfully. Much respect to the white folks who are here respectfully. But I got 4 questions for the white supremacists. If you are supreme, and I assume that means genetically, intellectually, spiritually. Okay? I assume white supremacy presumes that you are superior genetically, spiritually, intellectually, and physically. Let's do those 4. Genetically, spiritually, intellectually, and physically. Let's go through those 4 for my white supremacists. Let's deal with genetics. If you are superior to black people, why are you not able to reproduce yourself with any of the other human races? The only way a white man or woman can reproduce yourself is with another white man or woman. You have no genetic power when you mix with another race. If you mix with a black person, that child is an African. If you mix with a Chinese, that child is a Chinese. If you mix with an Arab, that child becomes an Arab. If you mix with a Latino, that child becomes a Latino. If the white man is indeed superior, why are you not able to reproduce yourself with the woman of another color? I need an answer to that for my white supremacists, because you're supreme. So that's number one. That's the genetic. Let's go to the physical. If you are physically superior as a group, if whites are physically superior to Africans, why is it every sport we enter, we dominate you and everybody else in it? Tiger Woods was one man and dominated the whole sport of golf. Serena Williams was one woman and dominated the whole sport of tennis. We just won gold for ice skating. We just won gold for swimming. Any physical contest black people enter, give us 5 years, we will be on top of the sport. Let us continue. And this is the reason why you Neanderthals disconnected physical talent from intellectual talent. That's why you cut it off. Because physical talent is a measure of intellectual talent. It's not a full measure, but it is an aspect, because everything you do physically is connected to mental decisions and events. But you disconnected physical talent from intellectual talent because you know you're not physically more gifted than black people. The whole world knows that. Okay? Let's continue. So we've done the genetic. You can't reproduce yourself. We've done the physical. We outperform you in every field. Okay? Let's do the spiritual. And I'm only talking to the white supremacists. No disrespect. The openly white supremacists. No disrespect to the other white folks. If you are spiritually superior to black people, why has God never sent a single prophet or deity in your image? I'm asking an honest question. I'm asking an honest question. White Jesus is your invention, and it's a relatively modern invention. White Muhammad is your invention, and it's a relatively modern invention. In fact, if we were to be honest, one of the reasons you created the superheroes, one of the reasons white folks are so infatuated with superheroes and comic book characters is because you have none in the Bible. You have none in the Torah. You have none in the Quran. You have no superheroes in the Bible. You have no superheroes in the Quran. You have no superheroes in the Torah. So guess what you did? You had to make your own superheroes. And guess where you got them from? You know what you did? You went to African spirituality and you stole the archetypes of our divinities. You stole them, and I'm going to run them down to you right now. You stole Shango, the divinity of leadership and revolution. You stole his archetype. You stole his colors, red and gold. You stole his weapon, the double-sided axe. You stole his nature element, thunder, and you created a character named Thor from Shango. And then you went back and you stole Ogun. You took his machetes and you put them on a man named Logan. And Logan has 3 machetes on this hand and 3 machetes on this hand. The Wolverine. His power is like iron. His number is 3. And if you take the L off Logan, you almost get the name Ogun. Let me continue. You went back to Yoruba culture and you stole the divinity Oya. Yes, you did. You stole her element, the winds and the tornado. You stole her color, African woman, and you turned her into Storm. Halle Berry's Storm is the divinity Oya. Thor is Shango. Wolverine is Ogun. Aquaman. Aquaman. You stole Olokun, the owner of water, and you brought him to America and you called him Aquaman, the owner of the ocean. And then you stole Obatala, the father of consciousness. You stole the old wise divinity and you turned him into Charles Xavier, the elder of the X-Men, whose natural element is what? Consciousness. Is it a coincidence that Obatala is the elder who rules consciousness? Charles Xavier in the wheelchair is the element that rules consciousness. So since you didn't have any superheroes in the Bible, and since you didn't have any superheroes in the Quran, and since you didn't have any superheroes in the Torah, you stole our deities and turned them into X-Men in Marvel Comics. I need an answer to my question, white supremacists. If you are so supreme over black folks, why did God not send a single prophet from any religion? From any religion. God didn't send a single prophet in your color, which is the absence of color. White is not a color. White is blanco, nothing, missing, deficiency. White skin is a genetic deficiency. It is a mutation. Blue eyes is a genetic deficiency. It's a mutation. I'm not disrespecting you, white people. And I'm not claiming to be superior to you. I do not have to claim superiority over any man. I am not on this planet to be your superior. I am on this planet to live out and accomplish my God-given destiny. I have no need to claim superiority to any other man. I don't care what color he is. But since you claim to be supreme, I must ask you these questions. Where is the proof of your spiritual superiority? Where is the proof of your physical superiority? Where is the proof of your genetic superiority? Now let's talk about the intellectual. If you are in fact superior to black folks, why is it on tests of intelligence from birth to age 5, black children outperform the children of every other race on the planet? Can I ask you another question? If you are more intelligent than us, why did you include a verbal scale on all of your major IQ tests? And I know because I give IQ tests as a school psychologist. If you are intellectually superior to black people, why do you need a verbal scale to measure intelligence? Everybody knows that vocabulary is not a measure of innate intelligence. You are taught vocabulary. You are trained with vocabulary. You get vocabulary through education. That's not a measure of innate intelligence to describe vocabulary words. But you put that on the IQ test to make sure black children score lower than white children. If you take out that vocabulary, verbal IQ scale, I promise you black kids will outperform your children. Let's go forward. Are you aware that half of your inventions in this country, the cell phone that I'm on right now, the cell phone, the internet that I'm using right now, the cell phone and the internet that I'm using right now were invented by black people. The Mr. Softy ice cream truck that I hear outside right now, invented by black people. The golf tee, the stoplight, the gas mask, black people. The helicopter, black people. I can go on and on. If you are so intellectually superior, why is it that an enslaved, despised, dehumanized people are responsible for giving birth to the greatest technological creations in your society? In other words, if all black people packed up and went to Africa, and we took all of our inventions with us, what would you have left behind except AIDS and COVID? I would like to know. If we took everything we invented from this damn country Everything. The self-lubricating car engine. Every car that drives in the world. Let me say this again. If you drive a car, a bus, a motorcycle, a van, I don't care if you drive it in Asia, I don't care if you drive it in Europe, I don't care if you drive it in America, I don't care if you drive it in the Caribbean, I don't care if you drive it in the South Pacific, Canada, if you are in a car right now, it has a self-lubricating engine. You know why it has a self-lubricating engine? Because a black man invented the self-lubricating engine. So please, white folks, don't play the you're superior to anybody. In fact, from a psychological standpoint, if I can quote one of your own Sigmund Freud, if I can quote some of your own white psychologists, they said that a superiority complex is really a mask for a deep-seated inferiority complex. According to your white psychologists, a superiority complex is really a mask for a deep-seated inferiority complex. According to your psychologists, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, Alfred Adler, Anna Freud, they all taught, I have a doctorate in it, I got 3 masters in it, I got a bachelor's in it, they taught that a superiority complex is a defense mechanism. A superiority complex is a defense mechanism intended to hide your deep-seated inferiority complex. Let's continue. Economic crisis, I think we already talked about that. We're the only people who want to integrate their money with other groups. Black people are the only people who have no problem giving their billions away to people who hate them. Can you find another group who does it? Can you please name another race that willingly and knowingly hemorrhages billions of its dollars to other ethnic groups who can't stand their guts? Can you name another group? Can you name another group of people in this country who willingly and knowingly gives billions of dollars away to other people who hate their guts? I don't know them. I don't know them. There's no such thing as economic integration. There's no such thing as political integration. There's only power accumulation and power domination. See, we got to get so serious about black revolution. We got to get so serious about black revolution that whenever you go to a meeting, you have one question. Today's meeting is about taking and accumulating and dominating power in what sector or industry. That's it. That's what the meeting is supposed to be about. We are here today to talk about taking over what industry? We are here today to talk about taking over what sector? Are we taking over the farms? Are we taking over the supermarkets? Are we taking over the fast food restaurants? Because if you open your eyes, the East Indians are rapidly taking over the hotel industry. Europeans, auto manufacturers. European Jews, banks and media. Chinese, import and export. Latinos and Mexicans, industrial building trade jobs. What sector, what industry, think you need money from the government before you do anything for yourself? Will you please go buy some slave shackles and shackle your damn hands and feet behind your back? Because you are useless to the rest of us. I'm going to say it again. If you need a reparations check before you can get up off your ass and do something about our situation, you can't do nothing until you get some help from Joe Biden. You can't do nothing until you get some help from Congress. Then go get you some slave shackles. Put your hands behind your back. Have somebody shackle your coon ass and shackle your damn ankles. All the Negroes who feel powerless to do anything about our reality need to be shackled up. I'm dead serious. Separate those who are useless. Separate them. Put them in shave shackles and put them on a ship somewhere. Put their ass out in ship. Shackle them up and get them up out of here. Any Negro who says we need a reparations check before we get started fighting is a Negro who will stop your development before he gets a handout from Uncle Sam. That is a dangerous Negro. That is a world famous dangerous Negro to say, I can't do nothing until my slave master give me some victuals. I can't do nothing until my slave master give me some victuals. I need some victuals, President Biden. I need some victuals, Vice President Harris. I need some victuals, Supreme Court Justice Clarence. I need some victuals, Master. Until you give me some victuals, I can't do nothing. Never mind my $2 billion on Air Jordans. We ain't gonna talk about that. Never mind my $1 billion to McDonald's every year. We're not gonna talk about that. Never mind my $800 million on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork. We ain't gonna talk about that. All this money we giving away to other groups. We are investing in other people's advantage over us. We are investing in other people's advantage over us. We are investing in other people's advantage over us. And then when it's time to invest in us, you need the government to do it. I'm going to say this again because I need y'all to understand me. Ashe. I'm going to say this again because I need y'all to understand me. When you buy fake hair, video games, clothes, car, nails, fake eyelashes, when you take your white girlfriend out to eat, you are investing in the empowerment of other race groups who hate you. And then when it comes time to invest in your group, you can't do it. You need the government to invest in your group, but you don't have no problem investing in another group. If that's not the definition of self-hatred, if that's not the definition of self-hatred, if that's not the definition of self-hatred, I don't know what is. And now we go to the snow demon crisis. That includes the snow puppies and the snow bunnies. The snow demon crisis is an embarrassment to the race. Black men, so-called kings, and we are, but we don't act like it. So-called emperors, and we are, but we don't act like it. We date outside the race more than all other men in the country put together as a percentage of the American population. We make babies with women of other races more than all other men put together as a percentage of the population. We marry outside the race more than all other men put together as a percentage of the population. And are we really going to sit here, black men? Are you really going to sit here and tell me that the black man's preference for the snow bunny is a pure accidental coincidence that is not rooted in slave trauma and low self-esteem? Are you really trying to convince me that black men are mating, dating, and procreating more? Mating, dating, and procreating more than all other men put together as a percentage of the population, do you really want me to believe that has nothing to do with your self-hatred, nothing to do with your slave trauma, and nothing to do with your low racial self-esteem? Negro, you are crazy. And not only do you not end up with attractive snow bunnies, you don't get the pretty ones. You don't get 5'5" thick and a thigh. You don't get that.